Advanced Dungeons and Bladestorm. We're doing a little bit of a mashup way out in the Wolflands. We got to send our boys out to hunt some giant frogs. For this scenario, we're going to be using the Bladestorm rules, but we're taking our inspiration from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Remember, we've got a 10-man unit of light infantry. I know these guys have spears. In the rules, they actually have swords. We're doing a little bit of proxying. It's okay. The story is our 10 light infantry are sweeping the edges of Watery Tart Pond. That's it right there. And I think in my last video where we talked about this, I forgot to mention I have a sergeant. He's got 2 extra endurance. That's what it's called in Bladestorm. And he has a morale boost, +1 to morale. He's just a sergeant, so +1 to morale to anybody within 6 inches of him, which isn't big, but that's fine. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with our humans. They're going to start moving across the table. And when they come within 6 inches of one of these, we're going to stop. We're going to time out. We're going to look at it. If it's number 1 through 7, that ends the human turn. The frogs get to go. If there's no frogs on the table, that's not a problem. It's just one more little bit of chaos to add to the scenario. These tokens all have numbers 1 through 7. The 7 is a pitfall. Actually, what we'll do is we'll say anybody within 4 inches has to come run and investigate. They thought it was a giant frog. It's something else. 1 and 2, those are the giant frogs. When the first figure moves to within 6 inches, the frogs spring into action. They'll leap to attack the nearest figure. And what that means is we're going a little bit out of sequence. Because remember in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, giant frog surprise on a 1 through 4 on a D6. So to reflect that in a completely I go, you go system like Bladestorm, we're just going to say once you reveal the frog, it jumps into action. And remember, they can leap up to 12 inches, which is going to let them get into and out of trouble. And of course, they can ignore all of the terrain, like the woods down here, the impassable bushes. This is Watery Tart Pond with, now this is kind of broken ground, the high grass. It does not slow movement, but it does increase your defense by, I think it's 1 and maybe 2. We'll have to look into that. And of course, the pond, none of these guys are going in there, so that's kind of a safe place for the frogs, but they're really just hungry. Okay, and they do have a special ability that they can attack any figure within 3 inches, drag it, and then make a bite attack, which automatically hits for, let's see. I was going to say I don't know what, but I have it written down right here. It'll be medium ×2. So that tongue, they basically can attack anybody within 3 inches of them. And that's how we'll do the ambush. So on the first turn, our humans are going to go, and they can move up to 6 inches. And we are going to want to be real careful how we do this, because we want to try to limit the damage. So we'll bring this guy up 6 inches first. And then again, this thing is going to trigger, and with a number 6, there's nothing there. See, there's a number 6. So nothing there. Whew. That means we can bring everybody up and just, we needed to get that one out of the way first. Ideally, we'll send one of these spear mooks in to trigger the trap, and then we can take a couple of arrow shots. In fact, I think we'll bring this arrow shot over here. And the big question is going to be, where do we put our sergeant? Obviously, we're forked by this. So do we send him down south, or do we send him along the northern route? And because there's more discs up here, more potential markers, we're going to send them up north. That's going to be the highway to the danger zone. So we'll go right there. I'm doing it again, man. I always want to stop. Oh, except I'm going to wait. As before, I'm going to let my first guy go. So there you go. So we have a number 2, and that means one of my giant frogs is going to appear. He will use his, let's get that out of there. So there we go. Our poison dart frog is going to poison dart. He's going to use his tongue to try to draw this guy in, and that's going to be 2d10 plus, it's 2d6 plus a d10. He only needs a 7, and he is going to be doing medium ×2. So he goes, zoop, you come to me. And with a 6 ×2, that's going to be 12, and he's going to just start munching on the first of our boys. Our turn is still ongoing, so we do have the option to start firing. We have 1-2 guys with bows who are within range, and they're going to take some shots. That will be 3d6, and the Bird Hotel has a new friend in town. So we get an 11, and that is, they're actually 3d6 -1, so that's a 10. They only need to get a 7 to hit. And remember, this guy has, well, all of these guys have 1 damage reduction. He's got 2 damage reduction. The bows do low ×2 +2. So that means we do 2 points of damage. And I'll put this down, leaving Mr. Frog's wild ride with just 5 hit points. If we can do 2 more hit points, we might get a morale score and chase him back into the pond. We then fire with our second bow guy, and we get a much better score. We hit, and everybody's going to hit because when you translate this game from D&D stats, we get a more light on there. It's so much better. For some reason, the defenses are like crazy low. I'm not sure I like the way they wrote that. Be that as it may, 2 times 2, low times 2, plus 2 means, well, remember, damage reduction to 2 means we do 6 points of damage, and the first frog is dead, and we lost 1 guy. All right. We'll take that trade. I think that's for the best. The next thing we're going to do is bring this guy up 6 inches. Remember, your bow guys have to choose between moving and shooting. They don't get to do both. So they're all done, and we'll bring these guys up to here. And I think we are probably within close enough to this that are we within 6 inches, that one? No, we are not. So if we zoom out a little bit, we can see what happens here. Number 3, there's nothing there. And that will be the end of the turn. Now, if the frog had survived, it would be his turn. But since he didn't, it's not. We move on to turn number 2. And so once again, down here on the south, we're going to send this guy up to investigate this little patch of land. We'll expose, and there's our second frog. So 3 out of 4. We've got 3 more left. The frog number 2 appears. I probably could have played with more frogs if I'd known it was going to go this quickly. So Mr. Frog stays there. Mr. Frog makes his slurp attack. So we roll these 3 dice. He's only looking for a 7. He gets it, and he's going to do medium times 2, which is this times 2, leaving our guy with just 1. Oh, medium times 2. Is there any bonus to that? No, that's it. All right, that's great news because it means he takes 3 points of damage. That's going to force a morale check. We roll 3d6 for this. And he has a morale of 10. Mr. Sergeant is way too far away. It's not going to have any effect. And he's going to score a 16, meaning he's fine. He can go ahead and attack. But he did, or fine in terms of he's got 1 hit point left. So he's going to, now that was his move, so he has to stay there. He's going to get chomped again. We don't want to use our bowman. And, oh, he's actually in a little bit of trouble, isn't he? Because he's way too close. This is the point where that tongue becomes a real liability. He can't get anybody to help him in time. He's going to have to hope that the frog misses on the next turn. That does mean the rest of the reinforcements can move. We need to stay 6 inches away from these because we don't want to get distracted by drawing that number 7. So we're going to start to converge with our 6 inches of movement, and we'll bring the sergeant up trailing behind, and we can also bring our archers. Again, they have a range of something like 12 inches. I don't think they're going to get into too much combat, but just in case things go a little bad, we'll bring them up. After all, if the frog successfully eats that second man, which is highly likely, we'll roll to see if he hits. And man, with a 9, 6, and a 5, medium times 2, this guy goes gulp right down the gullet. So we've lost 2, but now it's the human's turn. And we have 3 archers ready to just turn them into a pincushion. They're going to do, this is 1 times 2 is... So the damage for these guys is low times 2. So that's 2 points of damage to the frog for the first shot. That's going to be 4 points of damage, low times 2 plus 2. That's 8 points of damage. And so Mr. Frog, even with the damage reduction, is going to go down. That means that we are trading 1 guy for 1 frog. We're going to lose a total of 36 men in our quest to rid Watery Tart Pond of their frogs. We're just going to extrapolate this. We're going to use ratios similar to the way we have done in the past when it comes to this figure counts as 10 men. This battle counts as the battle to destroy 2 of our giant frogs that are in the pond. Then the question becomes, how many weak missions do you send? And really, it's going to kind of depend. We're going to have to step back and we're going to have to do a little bit of math. And we'll have to do some dividing, which I know is scary, maybe some multiplication. I know a lot of role players have a hard time with that. Wargamers too. I know that's one of the chief objections to chainmail. I have to really think hard about it. But here in the House of Wargaming, we really like thinking hard about these games. We like to run the numbers and run the logistics. And here we have just a quick. I don't know. This was fast, man. Maybe we should have beefed everybody up. Maybe this would have been a lot more interesting. Although, part of it is it's just an exercise in strategy, right? Do I send all 5 of my spearmen in? Which one do I move first? He's probably going to get eaten. How do I, do I move him up to the 6 inches? But I mean, Mr. Toad could have jumped in too. So that might have been a tactical mistake on my part. But I got to be honest with you guys. Here's the key thing. I feel like I'm just vamping to fill time, and I don't want to do that. Sometimes it's nice to just get in, get out. We had a great game, even if it was only a 10-minute video. It's fine. It's fine. Forget the algorithm. We're here to experiment with this stuff. So I'll see you next time. We're gonna do we'll do an update because we got to see what's going on over at Castle Weasel. Figure out how that tower is coming along, and turn the camera back on we'll zoom back out and show the strategic situation as it stands, and figure out what this battle means in the overall context of our ongoing solo campaign. Until then, I'm praying for you.